The newest AAA game to hit the new iPhone 15 Pro is Resident Evil 4. This game really needs no introduction. It's one of the best games of 2023. I mean, I don't have to go into the review of how Resident Evil 4 Remake is as a game. The question iPhone 15 Pro owners have is, how does this game run on the iPhone? How it looks, how it controls, what's the frame rate, is it even playable? And yeah, I'm going to be comparing it to the PS5 version. Thanks to Capcom for sending me a review code. While playing on the iPhone's tiny screen, the game looks decent. The frame rate is locked to 30 FPS, but I've noticed some drops. I'm sure there's stuttering going on here that gets to like 20 FPS at times, but overall it's not too bad and it's fairly close to 30 for the most part, which I think is acceptable for a third-person shooter like this. There are no display or graphic settings in the menu except for the usual HDR, brightness, but nothing related to the actual display or graphic quality. The resolution is 720p at best. I suspect the native does come well below that. Now that resolution looks decent on the iPhone's small screen, but if you're gonna do screen mirroring, then well, things get blurry. You can screen mirror your phone a number of different ways. There's of course the wireless option, which is kind of like streaming. I personally prefer a hardwire connection, so I use one of these cables to play on my monitor, and with that I can also capture some footage that I can analyze and also compare to the PS5 version. And here it is, the comparison, the iPhone 15 Pro running Resident Evil 4 versus the PlayStation 5. We got 720p versus 4K and 30 FPS max versus 60 FPS. Of course, there's no comparison here. If you want to play on a big screen, you do need a gaming console like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. The iPhone version just isn't meant to play like a gaming console on your TV. Sure, it looks okay on the small mobile screen, but it's not something I would screen mirror and play. Now you can play this game a few different ways in terms of the controls. There's of course the touchscreen controls, which I do not recommend. Playing a game like this with touchscreen just doesn't feel right. You really should be connecting a physical controller to your phone. You can of course connect your PS5 DualSense controller. Now keep in mind there is no DualSense haptic support or adaptive triggers when you do that. I personally prefer one of these attachable controllers. It just feels a lot better. I'm not sure if Apple's trying to compete with core gaming devices like the Steam Deck here, but there's just too many limitations with the iPhone that kind of tick me off a bit as a handheld gaming PC. For one, the thing just heats up like crazy. After only playing for about 30 minutes, the surface temperature on the back here is close to 50 degrees C. And you could especially notice that if you're playing with the phone in hand using the touchscreen. And then there's the fact that these AAA games like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, they do take up a lot of storage space. This game on the iPhone is about 32 gigabytes. If you have an entry-level 120 gig 15 Pro, then that's basically most of your storage. And no, cloud isn't an option for installing games like this. And on top of that, Apple of course never offers expandable storage. This limitation and kind of this red tape on Apple's storage space, it's just a big issue for gaming devices. Beyond that though, maybe it's a good thing that Apple is doing this. They're opening the door for other mobile phone makers to kind of push the envelope of hardware and offer these AAA games. I'm sure if you got developers like Capcom on board on iOS, they might also be on board with Android. And those other companies like Samsung do have expandable storage and a lot less red tape around how users use their device. So if the next Samsung flagship runs Resident Evil 4, I mean, that's going to be a better option than the iPhone 15. Anyways, that's what you need to know about Resident Evil 4 on iPhone 15 Pro. For the rest of the video, I have some more gameplay, so check that out.
Hey.
¡Contesta, necesito apoyo!
I read you.
¿Quién soy?
What's your situation? No fucking way. This just keeps getting worse.
Pero no te puedes esconder.
Bruce, this is Condor 1.
Hunnigan here. What's your sit rep?
President's daughter, Baby Eagle. It's likely she's in this village.
Gotta go. Talk later. I'll let myself out.